Hello, everybody, and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 259, recorded on July 14th, 2023. The restaurant at the end of the Universal Analytics. A little shout out there to what was the name of that series, Tyler?
Hiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah, little 42 to everybody out there. All right. Happy Towel Day. I think that was back in March. But anyway, hey, from Zenatta Consulting, I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
We have a big show of, I think, over 8 news stories this week, and we had to pare out a few. So there are going to be some things we do not cover here. So if you will head on over to Zenatta.com. You click on CRM Zen, and you can read all of the stories, not only the ones we covered, but the ones we didn't, or just subscribe to our newsletter, and we will deliver it to your inbox every single Monday morning at 6 a.m. Pacific time. All right, with that, let us get right on into the announcements and events, Tyler. Well, we actually have an announcement. So we're on Club Z.
Mostly just events, really, in this section, but today we actually have an announcement.
We have an announcement. We were talking about this. If you go over to Club Zenatta, that's our online community. It's where you can ask questions and those kind of things, where we keep track of all the events of the world of Zoho. We also had this announcement section. And I think prior to this, we had one announcement saying introducing Azaz. This is when we moved, I guess when we launched Azaz, which, boy, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago. Anyway, now we got a new one, Zoho Projects Team Training. So if you are unaware, we have an entire series of trainings that we've put together. We launched team training, about 3 months ago?
Yep, right? For the CRM, I think it was around in February when we originally launched, just maybe 4 months back.
Yep, CRM team training, and now we have just launched projects team training, and coming soon is desk team training and marketing team training. I actually think marketing team training is going to come before desk team training. But we are rolling all of these out, but we're happy to this week that project team trainings has dropped. And so you've got unlimited access for your entire team, and you can train them all. So if you've got 50 people, it's the same price as if you have, one person or 100 people. It's going to cost you the same price to train your entire team on Zoho projects. So really detailed course, 4 days, nice curriculum. We would love for you to give it a try. We got some special offers that are going to be kind of floating out to people's inboxes. Is that right?
I think the first one went out yesterday, kind of opening this up for early access. So we're knocking $1,000 off retail, so you can pick this up for $500. Again, that's permanent access forever for your whole team. So if you're using Zoho projects all the time, definitely take a look. And if any of these training areas seem useful for you, might be a good time to grab that.
Yeah. So how do they get that little coupon code? Is that anybody who is a member of our newsletter or what?
Should be in the inbox. It should also be available here, just landing on the page for the time being. So anyone who kind of accesses this gets in the early access period for now.
Fantastic. All right, and moving on to events real quickly here. We have got several coming up. So I guess, what do we have, Tyler? You are going to solo the webinar this month. Is that correct?
Yep, we're doing a webinar on bookings, calendar, and meetings. These are tools that we have a couple personal reservations on, and I'll definitely highlight a couple of those within the webinar. But for some people and some use cases, they're going to work great. So we thought we would put together a quick walkthrough of how they all click together, a couple things to be aware of in each of those applications. And it seems like in a fog of misjudgment, I offered to do this one solo. So I am going to prep that a little later today, and we'll get that out to you all next week.
Yep. And we pivoted yesterday on our August webinar. It was going to be on Zoho Voice. And instead, we have decided that we are going to cover Zoho telephony. So we're going to cover the phone bridge, some of the top telephony providers, how it integrates, what apps it integrates, the ways you can integrate, whether it's directly through phone bridge. Some use Chrome applications. There's a whole bunch to cover here. So we're going to actually have to sit down and kind of slice and dice this out, everything we want to cover. But a lot going on there. So that's going to be a fun one, Tyler. Looking
Yeah,
forward to that
absolutely.
as well. And then Zoho looks like we've added 3 here. Zoho has really kind of ramping up their summer events here. They've still got 4 more left for July. Looks like we're only seeing 1 in August, but I think we'll start rolling. They really don't usually announce their events until maybe a week before. So check back on this page. We keep track of all of the events in the world of Zoho. And if you haven't, please head over to Club Zenatta, register. You can participate in our code share, ask questions that will go on our Ask Zenatta Anything About Zoho show, Azaz. Uh, Ask other people questions, participate. All we require is your email, and you are in. And with that, let's get on to our news. Well, Tyler, I think we had a discussion prior to this, and we thought this was already a thing. You swear you've already done some development about it. But Zoho is announcing that RouteIQ for Zoho CRM is now they're integrated. Which is nice because we like RouteIQ. So basically, this is a routing software. You have salespeople or delivery people, and you've got addresses in the CRM, and you plug in the 10 people that you're going to stop by and see that day, and this will give you the best, most efficient route for that day. And it does other things over than that, but it looks like now it's completely integrated into CRM, Tyler.
Yeah, and I mean it again, it's one of those weird ones. I swear this was already here, but maybe it was just implemented a little differently. They do have that tag of like Route IQ for Zoho CRM. So maybe before it was like a plugin and now it's baked in natively, right? Maybe that's the
Okay.
difference here. But I do know you could definitely integrate Route IQ in the past and map things out. It actually works really well. You can color code based on data inside the record. You can draw a lasso. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see some of it here. Draw a lasso and it'll give you the routes. Greg just dropped a Deja route IQ. That's good in the chat. So yeah, I mean, great application. It seems right. What they're doing here is they're just baking it a little bit more natively into CRM, which is great to have. I mean, lots of people doing field sales or need to check in on certain customers, projects, etc. Great tool to just have natively built into Zoho.
Very cool. And it's got a very nice integration into the mobile app as well for check-ins and keeping track of GPS navigation along the route. So very cool stuff. Very, very cool. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a great application. I know we used to use Mapsly a lot. Are we still using Mapsly, or is kind of Route
Still,
IQ?
well, I've kind of grown to like Route IQ a little more for routing. What Mapsly still kicks butt at is territory management.
Got it.
You pull over all your accounts, you just draw the lines, pick the zip codes, do whatever you want to define territories. Press a button and it syncs all that back to CRM, and you can kick off your workflows, assignment rules, anything based on that. So territory wise, I still do stick with Mapsly, and we've got a couple of those like large scale customers using that. But honestly, at this point, for something like routing, I think Route IQ works great. I don't think you would need to go outside of Zoho really anymore to do that.
Very, very nice.
Greg asking how's the pricing? That's what I'm unsure about. I mean, it seems like it's going to be baked into CRM. It used to not be. It used to be something separate that you had to pay for. So if it's not going to be blended into the CRM pricing, looks like standard plan is $9 per user per month. Professional is 15. But again, you'd want to check out and see, what does the pricing look like here if you are. Yeah, so it looks like
Yeah.
you're going to have to pay separately
Yeah, I think it
to
is
have
going to be a
it.
separate deal. It's not part of Zoho One either, is it? No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, that's a good deal, though, right? I mean, I think.
Yep, and you can just get it for the users that use it, right, at the end of the day.
Yeah, because it's separate. It's outside of Zoho One. So if you are a Zoho One user and you got the all employee pricing, you just may be buying this for the 10 people you need it for. Yeah. So, very good. All righty, moving right along with the news. Over in CRM, notes and attachments visibility can now be restricted based on profiles. This is really cool. I like this a lot.
Yeah, this is really cool. There used to just not be a setting for this,
Right.
at all.
Right. So I mean, I am loving this, that you basically can set attachment rules as to who can see attachments, who can see notes. Man, super,
Yeah.
super nice. I'd
And
love to
I
see that
do,
actually as a setting in the attachment and the note, right?
yep,
Like
within
if
each
you would just say,
individual.
I'm
Um,
giving
yeah.
visibility to, this hierarchy and above, right?
Yep.
Or that
And
kind of thing.
I do know, I don't know if we're allowed to say it, but we'll say it, and Zoho, let me know if we're not supposed to say it. I do know as well, right now, this is looking at notes across the board. So they could see notes in all records they have access to, or notes in
Yep.
no records they have access to. There
Right.
are murmurs that are legitimate around them building this out on a per module basis.
Okay.
So for your use case, Brett, you could have a custom module for like confidential files, right?
Right.
And then load the attachments there. So even if someone owned an account, they might not be able to see any attachments in that confidential module. So there's going to be a more optionality coming to this over time. But this is huge. I mean, like a lot of times, Zoho adds lots of shiny things, the voice of customer, all that. And those are great. We love those. Things like this have huge impacts, right? Just
Good.
being able to set up proper permission structures and access control. It's a really big deal. So
It's
yeah, big
real
shout out
world
to Zoho for
stuff.
this one.
I mean, this is, like it's real world. You need it. You're out there. So super nice. Nice job, CRM team. And moving along, we've got some new feature rollouts in Zoho Analytics. Tyler, your favorite application. Did you get a chance to go through this? Anything jumping out at you here?
Yeah, kind of jump through a couple of them. Live agent, new connector there, custom roles for user management. This is great. Really, like the controls before were either they are a user who can only see things directly shared to them, or they are a God mode admin of that workspace and can see and do everything. Similar to Zoho Sign, right? Like
I was
sometimes we'll
just going to
share
say, just like Zoho
that.
side, right?
Yeah, Zoho Sign has two modes, like God and Peasant. There's no like in between in that application. So being able to create custom roles is huge, and they're very granular. For those watching us on YouTube, you caught a quick look at the
Yeah. A lot
specifics
here.
there that you're able to do. So huge, huge update across the board. A couple new connectors. A weird one here: embedding Tableau reports in Zoho Analytics. It's weird, but I get it. Tableau has different connectors, different reporting capabilities, and I actually do have customers that use both. And so being able to kind of blend analytics from multiple applications into one space, why not? I mean, if they got it to work, why not?
Well, this
Um,
is clearly made for customers who have both, right?
yeah,
I mean, that
definitely.
it might even be that
Um,
customer you're thinking of. Who
yeah.
knows?
So yeah, what if analysis over forecast data? I'm not a big Zoho analytics forecasting is odd. It's very odd. I don't recommend spending too much time in that. More Zia, right? So Zia generated reports to a dashboard. That's actually kind of nice. So this is where you can ask Zia, like, hey, make me a report of deals closed by month. Problem was before it would make that report, and if you liked it, it didn't live anywhere. It was just on the fly. It created it for you. Now you can just add it to a dashboard. So that's actually pretty cool. If it did something really nice, you can keep it, which you kind of couldn't in the past. So yeah, nice one there. For the nerds, the SQL query grammar-based suggestions, the next one here. Oh man, that makes me so happy. And
Oh, explain
they're doing
this.
this for operators like a union as well as tables and columns. So Zenatta team, as you're watching this for the analytics guys, if the day has finally come that it will suggest union when you type U, right? It will suggest join when you type J. It'll also suggest from data tables and columns. So yeah, that's a huge quality of life improvement for those who do a lot of SQL work inside of analytics. But
Very
yeah, nice round of updates all around. The last one there obviously puts a sparkle in my eye because I write a lot of SQL code regularly. So making that easier is really nice to see.
all right. Kudos analytics team. And moving on. Zoho Books, so we got a whole bunch of financial updates. Usually they come last week, but they're running a little late. So we're going to kind of run through these. The entire financial suite got a set of updates. You'll notice that when they do this, um, Oftentimes the updates are the same across almost every single app because they're basically one integrated app. So if we start with books, which is what we're going to do here, we're going to cover most of the updates, and I will highlight a few as we go through. Most of these are not for the US market. There's some Zoho Books corporate tax ready for the UAE. So United Arab Emirates has got some things that they're doing. Zoho's really investing in the entire Middle East, and so you're starting to see some changes around that as well. So if you're over there, there's some changes there. The big one, and this seems to be for all data centers, is new allocation method for landed cost. So you can now have dimensions and weight while adding landed cost to items. Items that have the highest weight or dimension will be allocated the highest landed cost. In cases where more items have the same weight and dimensions, the item with the highest quantity will be allocated the highest landed cost. That kind of cracked me up. And you can choose to apply the allocation method to all items on your bill or only selected items. This feature is available for organizations with the Zoho inventory add-on. So if you got Zoho inventory, you've
And that's actually pretty huge.
It is. It's a big update.
It's not sexy, you know, because it's just really moving boxes and allocating costs, but it is a pretty
Yes.
big deal. And the fact that you can actually define, and you could always define your dimensions and weights, but that it's
Yep.
going to like suggest how you could allocate the cost of shipping based on the quantities and weights and, sizes of the boxes. It's actually a huge time saver because people do need to do this, right?
Well,
When you
this
get
is
into
this
like,
is a standard feature in
yeah,
all enterprise level inventory applications and bookkeeping
have
applications,
to
right?
have it.
Have to have it. Have to have it. So a big, big, big update. And then regional language support has been updated, and you've got some additional fields on transfer orders. Um, so I'm not familiar with transfer orders, Tyler,
A
but
transfer is essentially, and maybe Lucas, I saw you in the chat earlier. Let me know if I'm wrong. Transfer order should be between essentially two warehouses,
okay. Yes, your
right?
source and
Between
your
you have
destination.
multiple, yeah, you've got multi warehouse setups, and you want to say, hey, I'm moving this from this one to that one, right? With X amount, X quantities. So now it's essentially going to show you a couple more pieces of data as you're
I'm moving it
submitting
from
those.
my warehouse to my fulfilled by Amazon warehouse,
Yeah, exactly. And
right?
you're able to now see like the cash value as a part of that transaction, which
Got it.
definitely makes sense.
I would imagine super helpful too for field management companies, right? Where you've got a bunch of trucks out, and oftentimes trucks are treated as warehouses. So you're transferring something to a truck, kind of see the value there. So nice. All right, and then some staff permissions for Indian and for I don't know. Do you know what Challenge is? I do not know.
Now I always see it pop up in these books
Yep.
updates, but yeah, not applicable for the US.
So there are some additions, Middle East, India, that are covered there. Then some design enhancements, timesheet calendar view. You can now click on any date to view all timesheets in that particular date at a glance. That's pretty nice. So they made some nifty little changes there. Importing on invoices, you can now drag and drop. Previously, you could only select. Fairly nice.
2023, baby. We can drag and drop
Minor
now. Let's do it.
minor UI change, but it is a UI change nonetheless. And then they've added some updates for organizations with the Zoho inventory add-on. You can now record payments for invoices created as part of an automated sales order cycle or simply mark them as sent. They just kind of slipped that one in there, but that's really big. And users now have the option to delete the Google Shopping integration right from the integrations list page rather than jumping through several hoops as had to be done before. So big, big, big updates and a couple nice ones slipped in there, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the big one, I actually talked to a prospect not long ago and we got talking about landed cost allocation. So I actually might have to follow up with them and let them know that actually is a thing that is going to be supported a lot better now. So yeah, shout out to Zoho. Thank you on that one. Good timing.
And moving on with finance. So on Zoho inventory, we're not going to spend any time here. The big update is you now have landed costs. So if you're just an inventory user, of course, you got it there as well. And then on Zoho Invoice, a couple little changes here, which is why I included this as well. You now have a customer balance summary report. helps you keep track of payments you are yet to receive a closing balance from your customers. This isn't, progress billing, but the closest thing they've done from a reporting basis under receivables. But just basically just a reporting on customer balances, what's owed and received. And then the rest is just left over from the other finance update that we've covered. So new nifty little report over in Zoho Invoice, which I imagine you also have in Zoho Books. And that's going to wrap up the finance news. And now we're going to move on to a roundup of what happened in Zoho Cliq in May and June. And normally, Tyler, we skip these. Matter of fact, there are two articles that we're not covering on here, which are roundups of various Zoho products where I went through them and we actually covered all the things on a previous CRM Zen show. But there were a couple in here that I did not see. Maybe they never did a release on them. You can now assign Cliq's paid licenses to specific users. So you've got free users, you've got paid users. You have the ability to assign who's a free user and who's a paid user, depending on the number of licenses you have. That could come in very handy for you. That, of course, really doesn't apply to
It's
Zoho
like a
One
need to
users.
have. Yeah,
Yeah.
seems like a need to have.
You can now call from the Cliq bar. So from the Cliq bar Zoho Cliq, you can now initiate one-to-one calls directly from the Cliq bar, which is nice. And they've done some Chat GPT extension V2. They got a major upgrade to it, and they say giving it a superhero cape. So they've tightened security and given admins some serious control. So you've got a lot more you can do with Chat GPT and the Chat GPT widget inside
I
of.
wonder if any of these updates here were from the code share that Greg posted a while back on that
I wonder.
ChatGPT integration, because they built one originally and it had some issues. And that's not knocking Zoho. They wanted to build it quick, get it in the market, see what people think. They did a good
Right.
job. Greg kind of took it and made some improvements. And the one at the bottom of this, is something Greg specifically did and posted a code share on, taking in the last 5 messages and
Yep.
account level context, like knowing that
Yeah.
we're Zenatta and that Greg is amicable and hilarious or whatever, he told it to know about him. So I wonder, no hard feelings if they borrowed it, but it was just a similar improvement that we made and then put out on the code share. So yeah, another shout out to Greg there for maybe helping them out a
Yeah.
little with that
I
integration.
think just because of the exact number, I mean, it's just, I think so, Tyler. I think you called that one pretty accurately. Then you got new date and time format in the calendar view. So you've added the ability to switch between 24 and 12 hours time views. And you can now create and manage events in the new events tab in Cliq, which is, I have not played with that yet. More Cliq magic right there. And as they mentioned before, they are discontinuing desktop support for Windows 8.1 and below. So some nice little Cliq updates. You want to read through this if you are a Cliq user. And Tyler, Bigin marches on its way to adulthood. Um, I would say Bigin, when it launched, he was like a little 5-year-old, maybe a 6-year-old, maybe first grade. I think he's probably, what, 5th grade right now?
It's getting there.
You know,
Yeah,
I
getting
don't know.
there. Moving up from crayon to watercolor, right? So
I
we're
think
moving
so. I
on up.
think I don't know. He might even be going through puberty. I don't know. Voice is cracking a little bit. Got hair growing where it shouldn't be. I'm not sure, but it's now got integration with Zoho Directory, which is, as you know, the first step to adulthood.
True. And Zoho Directory, for those who don't use it, it's essentially a login management tool, right? If you have many different Zoho apps, you can manage their access to those apps in a consolidated place using Directory. Zoho One users, you would never touch Directory because you can just do all that through the Zoho One admin panel. So if you're saying, what the heck is Directory? Why haven't I never heard of that? It's basically just baked into Zoho One. So yeah, nice to see. I mean, never hurts, right? If you're going to use directory, it kind of has to connect to everything you're using. So yeah, good one to add to the list.
And since Bigin is part of Zoho One, very, very helpful. So there you go. All right, and just kind of a little housekeeping here, cleaning up of inactive verified domains. So if you have verified a domain with Zoho, and that domain expires, 90 days after it expires, they're going to clean up that domain. So they're going to send you a reminder and saying, please verify. And if you don't verify, then they're going to get rid of it. Just kind of keeping things cleaned up here. So you will need to pay attention to this. If you have any domains with Zoho, make sure they're verified, make sure they're up to date. Anything you'd add to that?
Nope. I think you nailed it.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. Leave the exciting ones to me, Tyler.
There you
All
go.
right. And then Zoho has dropped this announcement. There's room for more. You now can allow up to 5,000 attendees in Zoho webinar. That, Tyler, let us just stare at the screen, nod our head. Mm-hmm.
Yep. That was going to work really well. You should definitely run a 5,000 person webinar in Zoho webinars.
Uh-huh. So there you go.
There you
First
go.
person to try that out, we would like you to please email us here at I believe in miracles at Zenatta.com. Yeah, we could do that.
Lofty
Anyway,
aspirations there. Lofty
there
aspirations.
All righty. With that, Tyler, let's move on to the implementation of the week.
Alrighty, so this one that we built out this week for one of our clients, primary developer on this one was Alex on the team. So this is an implementation around Zoho CRM account level activity status automation. That's a lot of words to essentially say we're recreating something that exists on leads, contacts, and accounts, or leads, contacts, and deals within the CRM, which is the little open activities tag that shows up inside of list views. So it's that thing on the left. It's green if the task is open and not overdue, yellow if it's due today, red if it's due yesterday, blank if there's no open activities related. Essentially, our client does a lot of account-based prospecting. And so a lot of their tasks are at an account level, right? So they'll create the task for a follow-up, open up the account, pick a contact or two, and then go chase them down. Then they'll close that account level task, which could queue up another follow-up to happen in the future. Problem is when you're doing it that way and you look at your like prospect accounts list, you don't have that tag that tells you if there's an open task on that particular account. And for this client, it's really important that if there isn't one, there probably should be. And if there is one, we should do it, right? So it's really important information for them as they go through and kind of prioritize their days. But as I mentioned, fortunately, this is just not supported at the account level using the little native, flag that's there on other modules. So all we had to do, create a custom field called activity status with basically two options: open activities, no activities, right? So just super simple pick list. We color coded that so that if it does have activities, it shows green. If it doesn't, it'll show red, kind of flagging them like, hey, we need to do something with this account because it's in the prospecting status, but we don't have any planned actions to actually do prospecting on that account. So then they're able to quickly filter based on that, see it in their list views, do whatever they need. Then in the background, Alex set up a couple different workflows and custom functions so that when activities are either created, updated, or completed, a function will actually look at all activities related to that account. And if any of them are open, following whatever the action was that was taken, to trigger that function, it will update that activity status accordingly, basically to open activities. If, let's say, a task is closed, the function looks at the account and there are no other open tasks, it'll go ahead and update that status to no open activities, kind of flagging the team that this is something where we should go ahead and set a follow-up. So really nice one here, not like the most technically intensive, right? No third-party APIs, crazy analytics syncs, anything like that. Just something that pretty quick to implement, super useful. Alex was kind enough to backdate this as well. He kind of backfilled the function so that it ran on all the existing accounts so that really day zero, everything is accurate. And then all future updates will just trigger workflows to keep that field up to date.
Pretty nice. Pretty nice.
Yeah,
It's
it's a good
interesting,
one.
though. We forget about how, Zoho's constantly improving. I mean, we only got color coded pick lists, what, less than a year ago, right?
I think
It seems.
so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think less than a year.
The ability to do this, but cool implementation. Very,
Yeah,
very, very
shout out to
nice.
Alex. It was a good build.
Shout out to Alex. All right, with that, let's head on over to Club Zenatta and check out the code share of the week. All right, this comes from Mr. Greg Belknap, man about town. Who's, by the way, Tyler, just went through puberty himself just a couple weeks ago. Him and
That's
Bigin.
why his beard is so much bigger than mine, because I haven't yet.
Him and Bigin are on that same path to maturity. Anyway, how to display Workdrive images via URL in HTML. What does that mean? Take a Workdrive image. You've got it. You've taken an image. You've put it in Workdrive. Now you're going to get a universal resource locator. That's that long string that tells you where the image is. And you're going to basically get that, share that, and drop it into an HTML document so you can have it appear in a web page or a email or whatever you would like. And Greg is taking you through the step-by-step method to add this to your hypertext markup language file. And then away you go. So very cool, very, very useful. I will tell you that Greg has done some really cool stuff with this. He's got a project for me. I'm not sure if you guys, if we've even talked about it on this show, but we have got a separate little project going where basically Greg is you're in the CRM, you're uploading, you're saving two images as file attachments. It is then taking those images, putting them in Workdrive, getting the URL like he's showing here, writing that URL back to the CRM, and then on the click of a button, pushing that to a WordPress site where because of that URL, it's able to get that image and upload it to a WordPress site. We're doing some really cool stuff with Workdrive. Saving a ton of space inside of the CRM because you can get rid of attachments. You basically can have them just stored over in Workdrive and filed that way. So some pretty cool stuff. So big kudos to Greg for sharing this one as well. It's pretty useful.
And there's also something that you can take this structure and use it programmatically in functions as well. You just have to remember to add that little download URL, or not the URL, the little download tag, right, to make it work. But so like we've done this for clients where, hey, they want to put their customer's logo in the proposal, right? You just have to make sure that you've got it in Workdrive named appropriately so that the script knows how to find it, yada, yada, yada. We're able to do a lot with this method. So yeah, shout out to Greg. This is a good one.
Yeah. And a little cleanup note here over on Club Zenatta. If in the past you had gone over here to Azaz and you're saying, where are all the Azaz shows? Well, I guess we're still keeping them here. Are we keeping them everywhere? We're keeping them both places.
Here,
They're
there, and
not only
everywhere.
living here now, but they also are living over at Zenatta.com, which I think was going to be the new home for all of the Azaz shows. So if you're not familiar, that's our Ask Zenatta Anything About Zoho show. And it's where we answer your questions during the week. So they were living over in Club Z, but we've got the Club Z's over here. Now Azaz is over here, so you can basically find all the questions, all the answers, and those have now been moved or are in the process of being moved. It looks like over to Zenatta.com. And with that, we have a read of the week, and it's a doozy. Let's get right to it. So this is really cool. We're not sure where it's going, but Zoho has launched a magazine, its own dedicated blog. What would you call it, Tyler?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe let's call it a blog. I don't think
Yeah,
you
it's a
can get
blog.
it in paper, so it's got to be a blog.
It's called The Long Game, or TLG, which is pretty cool. You got the TLG, The Long Game. And it looks like they dumped a bunch of blogs that about a month ago, first week in June, right? All these blogs that we just found it. But it's interesting. It's one person, Suraj Sethu. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. But this seems to be really echoing like a lot of the philosophies that we hear from Sridhar Vimbu, the CEO of Zoho, right? Especially he's very active on his Twitter feed. But they're doing around spiritual capitalism and bootstrapping and data and privacy. I love this article, the tiring ordeal of refusing cookies in 2023. It's just so accurate as to what goes on there. But I'm hoping they keep this going. So it's some nice corporate advice. It's got some deep thinking. It's got some interesting stuff to it. So we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, worth checking out. I hope Zoho kind of keeps up with it. The only thing I'm noticing, they haven't posted since early June, right? They kind of posted a bunch and have slowed down a little. So keep it going,
Yeah.
Zoho. They're interesting reads. Don't agree with everything in there, but sign of a good read, right? I mean, it should have some things that make you think. So yeah, shout out to Zoho for getting this going.
I get big props on this logo, the long game by
Yeah,
Zoho.
the name, the logo, like I like how they have their values up at the top, kind of like
Yeah,
cycling through, right? Like it's cool. They did a good job with this.
yeah, really, really nice. But take it from Zenatta. If you want to have a successful newsletter or a successful blog, you need to have consistent content. That means you just can't
Consistency.
drop everything and disappear. So let's keep it going. All right. All right, Tyler. With that, let's head over to Zenatta and see what our consistent blog is all about.
Look at that segue, man. It's like we do this for a living.
All righty. Over at Zenatta.com. Well, that's where everything is. Our resource library. We keep track of all the apps, all of our videos, all of our articles, the Zen Show, as we just talked about, Azaz, events, our blog. Well, let's talk about our blog. Every week we post some content we hope you will find useful. And this week's is choosing the right online appointment and scheduling software. And really, the team is just kind of focused on, I think, the four big ones here. So Zoho Bookings, Calendly, Setmore, and Acuity. One of these got sold. Acuity got sold, right?
Yeah, Squarespace gobbled them up. So sometimes you'll find that under Squarespace scheduling. Sometimes it's still Acuity though. So but yeah, they got acquired.
Okay, very, very cool. So really a breakdown of all of the different ones and the pros and the cons of them all. If you are a avid listener to the show, you'll know that Zoho Bookings is uh, still kind of on our naughty list. It's got some issues. It can't look up multiple people. It can't do some other things. So I think this article is more of a suggestion of if you're using Zoho Bookings, yes, you may find that there are a few things it's not doing, and here are some others you may want to check out in the meantime. I'm going to tell you, Tyler, that I believe Zoho Bookings will get to where it needs to get, and I think it'll get there by the end of next year. I really do.
And the
I
next year,
I think the end of next year
got it.
we'll see. I don't
I'm
think it's going
still
to get there
waiting
this
on the
year too
Google
much.
Calendar integration to work.
I
Still
think that
doesn't work.
if we were to talk on it, I think the reason that Zoho Bookings does not have real time calendar integration is because of the server bandwidth it would take to constantly ping millions of
Yeah,
calendars.
they're trying to sync the calendar. And the reason that Calendly works great is that Calendly does not store your events,
Nothing.
right? It makes a
It's real
request
time.
when someone tries to book, and that's it. But yeah, with bookings, we tested it recently. Someone you can book through bookings at 2 p.m. You move it to 3 p.m. on your Google Calendar. Bookings doesn't register that update. Now you get double booked. So
Right.
unfortunately, it's just not quite there. But the thing is, Acuity scheduling does maintain its full own calendar in there. I've
Right.
deployed that for large users with kind of enterprise use cases there, and like it actually syncs everything. Everything it's a record in there of every single calendar event you have, but it works perfectly. So maybe
Well,
they're
because
just
it's
paying
real
a
time
lot
as well.
more on server space.
The big thing is anytime a new event is getting made or something is being changed, it needs to look at all the sources
Yep.
in real time and say, aha, right? And I think it'll get there. I think the other thing, we've talked about this, it's got to be able to look at multiple calendars. And that, again, is all part of the same thing. And I don't know if Zoho's, we'll see where it goes, but I have high hopes. And it will save us
Love to save
thousands
the
and
money on
thousands.
Calendly. you know, Say it
For
every
sure.
time. I'd love to save the money, man. I'm waiting for it.
All right. And with that, let's go check out our tip of the week. Oh, campaigns. So much going on with campaigns. Lately, we've kind of just Wayne has been on a tear because there are just so many changes and so many things going on with all the new stuff. So this is why and how to use batches for bulk emails in Zoho campaigns. Really good video, just kind of running through why you want to do this and how it is going to work. So Wayne will step you through this. So if you are a campaigns user, You will want to check out that tip. And as always, we would love it if you would go over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Zenatta, and subscribe. We drop content. Boy, it's getting to be almost daily, isn't it? It seems.
Sometimes twice a day.
Yeah. So this was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and here's our Friday. So we basically won a day today, this week. So, and we try not to make it garbage content. It's stuff that you need, stuff you can use, stuff that's actionable. We really hope that you find this content to be useful as you go through your Zoho endeavors. And so head on over, subscribe. We'd appreciate it. And with that, Tyler, I guess we'll wrap it up, huh?
Yeah, I think that does it for this week.
41 minutes. Not bad. We had a lot of news to cover. We did well. All right, everybody. Well, I will not be around next week. I am taking my parents on a cruise for their 64th wedding anniversary. That's crazy to be together that long. And they're just a couple of lovebirds. It's just amazing, They don't watch this show. They'll never know that I'm lying. Anyway. Hey, everybody, we would love to talk to you about how we can help you with Zoho. And even if you need some relationship advice, Tyler is really good at that as well. You can book with him, but just head over to Zenatta.com and click on book a meeting. Tell us what you'd like help with, whether it's your Zoho install, whether it's a refresh or relationship advice. You can get right on our calendars and we will help you out.
And as a fair warning, that booking link is around Robin, so you may very well end up talking to Brett. So be aware of the risk you're taking in booking that meeting. Other than that, on our website is where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. If you want those links delivered to your inbox every single Monday morning, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. Looking to get your team trained up, head over to zenatta.com/training. We do have that early access deal for Zoho projects live right now, so take advantage. And as always, if you'd like, please be sure to like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.
Take care, everybody. Happy weekend.